Good day, one and all. My name is Kathy, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Scrap and Crafty Gardener. Wednesdays, I'm setting aside this year to work on Christmas, whether it be making a Christmas card or some sort of project for Christmas. I didn't feel like card making today, so I'm going to make some Christmas tags for gifts. And I already have them cut out, but I wanted to show you what I'm using. I'm using the large round die, or scalloped die, from GinaK Designs decorative tag. And if you don't have a tag and you want to make your own tags, you don't need a die. I'll show you how to do that. Let's see, where did I put the papers? All you need is 2 pieces of 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece of cardstock. And I'll show you how we're going to work on that in a little bit. So I'm using that die from that kit. Today's kind of a hodgepodge of things that I'm using from different kits. And I'm going to be using this Merry Christmas rubber die from the Spellbinders Clear Stampin' Die of the Month from July of 2023, Pine Cones and Holly. Just using that stamp. And from the Spellbinders Stocking Full of Joy, which was the large die of the month for July of 2023, I am just using this die cut of ferns. That's all. And then the Spellbinders Layered Poinsettia, I'm only using the 2 pieces of the poinsettia, so it's just going to be a small flower, and that's it. And then I'm using this Darice. It's a 5x7 embossing folder. Let's see if I can put something behind it so you can see. Oh, that didn't work very well. Here, I have a scrap of purple. It has snowflakes all over it. So any embossing folder that you might have will work. So we still need that. Now, I have already gone out ahead, and I actually have more. These I can set aside. I cut out 2 of the tag dies, and then I have 2 sets of the foliage and the leaves. And then I have the 2 pieces of 2 1/4 by 4-inch. So we're going to get started, and the first thing we're going to do is rubber stamp. Because I want to show you that if you don't have these dies, if you don't have the products I'm using, you can still make this item. So I'm going to take 1 piece each. We'll use one of these and one of these. And I am going to get the Merry Christmas. And I just kind of want to line it up towards the bottom, kind of centered if I can get it there. And then I'm going to, well, that, seen it came out. That's why we put it in the corner. I think I need to wash down my sticky mat again. I'm using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne, simply because this is a dark black ink. I usually use a GinaK Black Onyx, but it needs refilled, and this is good to go. And it gets me usually on the first stamp. So now I'm going to take the plain piece and put it right in the corner. And stamp. And perfect. So I'll just clean this off with a little bit of water and my old rag. And we set the stamp aside because we're done. And we're done with the, oh, sorry for the squeak, the ink and the stamping platform. Now we're going to do some embossing. And I'm using my Anna Griffin electronic die cutter, but you can use any machine you want. I just want to show you how we're going to tag these. I don't want the embossing to cover where the Merry Christmas is. So I'm just going to take this in the corner and just kind of line it up. It doesn't have to be straight. That's one nice thing about the snowflake folder. You don't have to be perfect with it. You'll still get snowflakes. I'm leaving that hang out. And I have the metal shim with the 2 A plates. And I'm just going to run this through right now. And I moved it so my machine is right here beside me. If I could figure out how to put it on the desk, I would. Okay. And that is it for that. Now turn that machine off because we don't need it again. Now we're going to take these 2 pieces and glue them together. If you had a really, really thick piece of cardstock, you would only need 1 layer. But then if you have the ridges on the back side and you wanted to write your to and from on there, it doesn't work as well. And I'm just going to stick my acrylic block on there while I glue this one down. And this one, you just want to kind of line it up at the hole and the bottom edge, and it fits together perfectly. So we'll glue that down, hold that down. I'm just going to clean the glue off my hands as I have made a mess with it today. As usual, but that's okay. I'm having fun. And I hope you are too when you're creating. All right, while those are being held down, to make sure that the glue holds them together, I'm going to get out a scrap piece of paper and color my die cuts. Now, if you don't have alcohol ink markers or ink pads other than black, if you have colored paper, use that, because you don't have to use what I'm using here today. I'm only going to use 2 colors on these die cuts, and I'm using my Ohuhu alcohol ink markers in R872 Tomato and G750 Emerald Green. And it's not a lot. All I'm doing is coloring them all over. And you can go an extra layer of color on some of them to do a little shading if you want to. You don't need to. The only thing I do is I put it off to the side on the black. Then I can see if there's still a spot that maybe needs a little bit more color. Keeping it on the white paper, if an edge is showing or I missed coloring something, you can see it on black or even just a piece of dark cardstock even. Now I'll just slide that over, and then I can see the little tip on that needs done. Now on these, I don't want the full stem. I'm just going to cut that off. Now for the flowers. Easy to color. As I said, if you don't have anything to color them with and you've got some colored paper, can you imagine this in a red mirrored cardstock? That would be gorgeous. Or even glitter paper. Maybe if you want to emboss it and put some powder on it. And I'll shove that over, and that looks good. See how that looks? Looks good. I cut these out earlier because I'm making sets of 10. And it took a lot of die cutting, probably about, I want to say, a half hour of solid die cutting. So that's why I cut these out. And you guys know how to die cut. Let's see if that's all colored well. And that's good. So I'm just going to set my scrap paper aside. Well, no, I'm just going to turn it around because I'm going to use this for gluing. Okay. Now for this one, it's all ready to go. But for this one, we want to make it kind of look like a tag. So you take your ruler. Now I wrote this down. We're going to go in 3/4 of an inch from each side. And I just want to make a tiny little mark. You can use a pencil. I have a sense issue with pencils. So 3/4 an inch from the right side and 3/4 an inch from the left side, and 3/4 of an inch down on each edge. Now comes the tricky part. I'm going to try my guillotine cutter. You want to cut from an angle. From your mark to your mark. And this is why I had you glue them together first, so that both pieces, front and back, end up equal. So I'm going to go from my mark to my mark. And this is actually working pretty well. This is my Tim Holtz Tonic mini cutter. I've had this for quite a while. Should look fairly straight. And I'm surprised it does, actually. Now for a hole, if you don't have a fancy dancy, I just have this old, oh gosh, I want to say I've had this since I worked at the newspaper, which is 1981. So I'm just going to kind of center my hole, kind of see if that looks good. And there you go. You've got a tag. Other than a decorative edge. Now, if you had those scissors that are decorative edges, you could do that with that. Now, I'm just going to glue these down. Oh, where did I put my glue? All right, this one will work, I hope. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. I hid it under my stamping block. And I'm just going to dot a little bit of glue on here. I'm going to do both of them at once because I'm going to put them underneath the stamping block. Now I'm just going to pick up my pointed nose tweezers, just because I don't want to get glue with threads all over like it's on my fingers right now. And just sitting that on, and just sitting that on at an angle. Now I'm going to take my stamping block and put it down there, clean off my fingers again. Now for these flowers, I'm going to use what are called miniscule Zots, Z-O-T-S. They're like glue dots. You could do, pop these up if you want, but the center is so small that it doesn't really get hidden unless you choose to put a large gem or something in the middle of this. So that one will be ready to go. And I just put one on the back of each piece. And I'm alternating the layers of the petals. Now I could have cut out maybe 2 of the larger size and 2 of the smaller size to make them more dimensional. With a package tag, they usually get thrown away anyhow. Oh, I just wanted to leave that right on here because on these tags, where did the other one go? Oh, stuck to the back. On 3 of these little spots for berries that you could have colored in red, but I just kept them green because it's just easiest. We're going to put some flat back rhinestones. And I'm no longer going to buy the colored rhinestones because I am coloring them myself with my alcohol markers. I used the tomato red to color these red. And for the center of the poinsettia, I have colored these in the FY010 fluorescent yellow. No sense of paying for the price for the different color ones when I can just use my markers and color them. Now I'm going to try these pointed tweezers to try and get these off and set them on the centers. Yeah, it wants to stick to my finger. Must not have got all the glue off. There. Now, I'll put the poinsettias on. And I kind of want to angle it down, and I'm going to have it sticking out just a little bit. Doesn't matter your placement. And this one will be up a little bit with sticking out on point. Now, for the center of the poinsettia, just a little bit of glue. And I'm going to use this fluorescent yellow. It's the closest, I don't have gold. I could have painted it gold, but then I wanted to have the glimmer, and I thought the yellow looked real pretty in there. Well, come on there. Now that glue will dry. And that is it. You've got a gift tag if you don't have a template to make one. Or if you do have the die cut template, this is what it can look like. And you can make them any size. I know the GinaK one comes in a multitude of different sizes. This is a tag trio, so that would make a huge tag. Maybe for if you're giving a large gift. And they even have little teeny ones that you could probably cut this out and then have it hanging off your card. Now I want to show you, I did get the other of these done, so I now have a set of 10. So experiment, play, have fun. Mix up your sets. Throw in some embossing folders, or you could, if you had a snowflake rubber stamp, stamp the background and put some embossing with an embossing Versamark, and then put embossing powder on there, maybe a white, or even you could do it in different colors. But just think of what you can come up with, and I'd love to see what you come up with. But that's it for today. I hope you've had a wonderful time. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you a picture of my sleeping kitty, Kenneth, who's been keeping me company this morning while I've been crafting. Thank you for watching. This is my Kenneth, keeping Mama company while she crafts. He's such a good boy.